Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister, doing well. All is well. I'm just, praying for the folks again, still in Texas, still in the southern states who are experiencing this very challenging winter weather.
Absolutely. I've talked to so many friends. I'm sure you have or heard from friends checking in with folks. It's still a dire situation out there. More so in Texas. A lot of southern states had those storms, but Texas, that situation it's really unimaginable. It's really unimaginable. But we want you to like, follow, and share this episode. We see some folks are tuning in. Hey, Lena Morris,
Hey,
thanks for
Lena.
tuning in already. She is Johnny on the spot. If you're tuning in, let us know where you're watching from, and go ahead, like, follow, share this episode, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and stay connected with Hey Sister. Join the conversation tonight in the comments. We want to hear from you. And we're super, super excited to have one of our, regulars back with us, Mr. Mike McQuarrie at DC Noob 90.
How you
Y'all
doing,
have
ladies?
seen him a lot in the news lately, right?
Yeah, something like that. Since the last time I've seen you, things have changed just a little bit, but yeah, I'm here. Glad to be with you.
Yes.
A lot
Yes.
has changed quite a bit.
Listen, if y'all haven't seen DC Noob 90, y'all saw him in his full, he made the Kappa memes for show because he was in his full Kappa regalia walking down the halls with Congressman Stacey Plaskett. So we're so excited for the work you do because as communications director, that's a lot of that is you, right?
Yeah. And I wasn't really, when she got approached to be an impeachment manager, I was not ready for it, but I made myself ready for it. That's just something that when you take that type of job, you don't ever think about you're going to be possibly working for an impeachment manager because you never figure, and impeachments don't come up that often, as we can see.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, we got a couple more guests watching tonight. Hey, Teal Holden. She's in Houston. Thanks for checking in with us tonight, Teal. And we have Miss Sunny LaBeouf. She's watching from New Orleans. Hey, Sunny, how you doing? Jody says, hey, sisters. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey.
So we got a lot of folks checking in tonight.
Good,
so
good,
in
good.
typical Hey Sister fashion, we start off with hot topics. And we have Mike on with us for our hot topics section tonight. We wanted to talk about a few things, but one of the things we want to really get into is your story from the insurrection. So you and a couple other your colleagues who are also comms managers for other Congress people were featured in the New York Times. You were featured on CNN with Don Lemon, as well as a Now This video. I've shared it on my Facebook page, so y'all make sure you go watch it. But why we want to keep this as a hot topic is because one of the things you guys expressed concern about in that video is that your story will be forgotten. So let's talk about it for a few minutes. Tell us how you're doing after January 6th. Yes, we've gone through the impeachment hearing, but still, how are you doing? Just managing and coping every day.
Right. Great question. I thank you for asking that. Talking about it now is very therapeutic. Because when January 6th happened, first of all, I wasn't expecting to go to work and an insurrection breaks out. It's just nothing that you don't plan for, anything like that. But, once that happened, then a week later, the Congresswoman gets appointed as an impeachment manager. So I've been constantly working on the go. And it's been rough at times, but with friends like you all, in avenues like this to talk about it, it makes it that much better. I always tell people that talking about what you're going through and what you're feeling is important these days. And so we've never, some of the video that we saw that day that the Congresswoman even did when she presented her story, I had never seen any of that video. A lot of people had never seen any of that video. So that compounded the situation a little bit more. But at that time, I'm sitting in the office knowing that I still have a job that I have to do. But it's been great. I have friends, family, everybody's checking in on me and checking in on us and things like that. And plus the people on Capitol Hill, they've given us resources that if it's someone we need to call or someone we want to talk to, they made that available to us. But I just, it was kind of just, it was frightening to say the least. But to see the Confederate flag walking through the halls of Congress, and those halls and those walls were built by slaves. It was just shocking. It's just shocking. And so, like I said in an interview previously before this, is that we think we've progressed a lot, but we really haven't progressed that far, in my opinion, after what I saw on January 6th.
Yeah, sister, I know you're about to ask a question.
Yeah, so the last time you were here, I believe it was in December, and and then we asked you how challenging was it to work with other comms directors on the other side? So now, post January 6th, how is it to work with those comms directors from the other side?
It's difficult. It's not even comms directors. It's regular staffers that work for Republican members now, because I couldn't believe today is Sunday. On Friday, I was walking down the halls and someone had on a mask, thank you, but it said MAGA. We still see a lot of MAGA pro-Trump. They're outwardly wearing their mask, their T-shirts and saying that on at work. And so, we have to deal with not only those, staffers, but now come to find out that it's possible that Capitol Police, they suspended 6 Capitol Police officers the other day. So, and they suspended maybe 30 more. I mean, they are investigating 30 more. So this is, it's nerve-wracking at times, because I still have to go to work, but now you don't know who you're working with. And then the Capitol is a fortress right now. I mean, it's fortified with 5,000 troops that surround it. I have to show my ID 3 times before I get into my office. So I mean, it's nerve-wracking. They're supposed to leave on March 12th. I don't know what's going to happen or how people are going to feel on March 12th, but we're going to see what's going to happen then.
Wow. Well, y'all, if y'all could, in the comments, y'all show Mike some love. Thank him for just the resiliency. I think one thing that you're sharing this story is also a testament to our resiliency. How we can, and especially for us as Black people. So I'm just going to talk about Black people right now. Other people might be watching, but just for Black people right now, that you still going to work. Like you getting up and still going to work with all of these calculations running through your brain about who is who you talking to, who you can really work with, and what have you. Man, I just say the hats off. Let
me just say real quick. I go to work where it's a fortress, but I come home and I live in the city of DC, and I'm so happy to get back into my neighborhood, because I feel safer in my neighborhood. My neighborhood is predominantly Black neighborhood. So when I leave my house and I go to work, I'm going to work, and I'm more worried a little bit at work than I am in my house, in my neighborhood, where at some point it's DC, so it's a city, so it's city living still. But I feel more safer when I come to Northeast DC as opposed to when I go to the capital of the United States.
And then there's these, rumors that something else is being planned for March 4th, I believe it is.
March 4th.
So we know this, we've heard this. So my question, because before the excuse, I'm going to say excuse, maybe that's harsh, but was that January 6th, we had no idea what was coming. We had no idea, even though it was all over social media. So now we know about March 4th. What are we doing? Is there any preparation that you see?
None. To be honest with you, very good question, because I don't see anyone. We haven't had anyone talk about the day of March 4th and what's it going to be like on Capitol Hill yet. But then again, I guess that's not something that's being talked about too much, because they don't want to put too much credence into it. But March 4th, I've just recently been hearing that that's a day that we need to be to watch out for, to be a little bit more aware of our surroundings. I'm just hoping that it doesn't come to anything crazy like it did on January 6th. But March 4th is just not something that's been actively talked about. But maybe that'll change when we will go to work on Monday, because I think on that day you're gonna have members of Congress who will be in DC. So I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to protect them. But let's just hope, and I'm pretty sure we are. We're prepared for something like that now. We weren't prepared on January 6th.
Well, we got some comments here. It says, thank you for sharing your story. You got one says, my brother, we love you and we got your back. Someone else says, Rosalind says, the microaggressions, that ain't no microaggression. That's a macroaggression. That's pretty big with the MAGA mask and other covert racist ways. Hats off. Hats off for you just hanging in there and continuing to get the job done. Well,
and I want to make sure I bring get the Congresswoman on. She apologizes for she couldn't make it tonight because she's en route. She's flying back from the Virgin Islands, but she definitely wants to thank everybody who was supporting her because she had a tough job and she came through for us.
And speaking of, how super proud were you?
Yeah.
Because,
oh man. I tell people this story all the time. That morning that she gave her presentation, she called me into the office about 9:00, me and another staffer, and I had never seen her presentation. So she was practicing. She had on jeans and a t-shirt because she didn't, she didn't put on that dress yet until later on. And she was a little nervous. I was worried about it. I was like, okay, but I couldn't let her see that. I just kept on saying, good job, this and that. I left to go over to the Capitol early because you saw I went and walked with her. And if you're familiar with the Capitol, the walls, when you walk with heels, you can hear someone coming down the hall. And I heard her coming down the hall and she turned that corner in that dress. And I said, you are gorgeous. And I didn't mean it in a condescending way. It was just like she was, and that's how she looked. And I was like, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. We walked across the Capitol, and the last words I said was good luck. And then I went back to the office, and the person that I saw when she stood up there and started her presentation, I knew she was brilliant. I knew that. But it was good that the rest of the world can see how brilliant she is, and she represents a territory, the Virgin Islands, that can't vote for the person that she's trying to impeach. You know, so it made her story, her doing it even more compelling.
Absolutely, and I'm here for it. DC statehood.
Yeah.
Virgin Islands statehood, Puerto Rico statehood. Let's get all of this. Let's get all these statehoods together, okay? Because that sister, she most definitely, Congresswoman Plastic. But see, I've been rocking with her since she turned around and looked at Jim Jordan. It's like,
right. Gave him the eye. Like, you need to just be quiet. Just be quiet.
Take it all the way down with your In the words of the ghetto poetess, Lil Boosie, he's a little ratchet. I'm just gonna leave it right there. And since we're gonna talk about rap, we're gonna close out our hot topics with In Memoriam, and we just doing one this week because that other one we only want to talk about. But Prince Marky D, the Fat Boys. So I know you grew up listening to the Fat Boys too, Mike.
I did. Yeah. And then when they broke up, we were hurt too. It goes through the whole spectrum with and now the Fat Boys broke up. But I remember it came across my news feed last night or yesterday, and I was had to take pour a little bit out for the brother because he did he shaped he shaped a lot of minds and shaped the genre of that we call hip hop and rap.
Absolutely. And them in Crush Groove and watching the Salt and Pepper movie, they reference the Fat Boys, and it's like, man, that definitely big memories. And we've lost a lot of our hip hop legends. And so rest in power, brother. And that's it. So Mike, we thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we thank you so much. And we know that you have even more great things in store for you, for the Congresswoman, and whenever she can come on. Look, if you have to tell us, we got to do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We ready.
Ma'am.
Just let us know when.
No problem.
We ready.
No problem. And then we can also come and talk about, we're going to have another stimulus package coming through. So once that's kind of done, I would love to come back on. If your viewers want to know something about what's particular that's in there, I'll let you know. We can come back and do that. But I appreciate it, ladies, and thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, folks, we are so excited that we have that continuing relationship with Mike, and we need to keep those brothers and sisters who are working on Capitol Hill lifted up in prayer for sure, because they are doing, nameless, faceless, thankless work each and every day. But tonight, our main guest for this evening. We have a power couple for you. You know, it's still February. We still talking about the love. And we have a powerhouse couple here for you today. And we want to bring to the stage Deanna and Clint Lewis. So, hey, y'all.
Hi.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Great. Everything's great.
We are so happy and so blessed to have you all with us.
You.
They are the authors of Faith, Family, and Franchise, 13 Lessons for Couples to Create a Heart-Centered Business. We're going to talk to them about all of these subjects, about faith, about family, about the business. But first, we want you to just tell us who you are and tell us your story, because we know it's a good one.
You want the tea first, huh? You want to start off with the tea?
We want the tea, yes.
Well, I am Deanna,
I'm Clint
and
Lewis.
that's Clint Lewis. I'm most affectionately known as Dee Dee on many of my platforms, but we have been married. This December will be 24 years. We've been together for 26. We have 2 amazing children. Thank you for the strong Black love, right?
Yes.
Our daughter is a senior, a graduating senior at San Jose State University. She's our basketball player, and she got that full ride. Scholarship for basketball. Yeah, she helped the pops out in his pocket. And then we have our son. He's the oldest. He just turned 23, my baby.
Yeah.
Is now 23. And he's a continuing student at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. And then we were blessed with an addition. I got to do parenting, a restart. I've had custody of my niece since she was 9 years old, and she just turned 18, and she's thriving and doing well in Performing Arts High School. And all that is good, but that's just who we are. What we do is run some businesses, right?
We have 9 franchises total. We have 5 Wingstops and 4 Fatburgers. So Wingstop is a national company, national brand. Fatburger is becoming more national, but they're LA based for the last 70 years. So any of those Cali folk out there that are from Southern California, they know about Fatburger after hours, after you hit the club and everything like that, you go get you a Fatburger at the end of the night, get that big, juicy Fatburger. So we have 4 of those. And we've been running restaurants, been restaurateurs for 16 years now. So we opened up our first Wingstop 16 years ago.
And I still work on Super Bowl Sunday, but this was the last Super Bowl Sunday.
You made that statement publicly.
I'm making it for the people
trying to
here.
get it on record so that I can let you off that.
Every platform I'm showing up on, I'm letting the people know that on Super Bowl Sunday, that is it. This body is retiring from Super Bowl Sunday, right? Just that day, not retiring from the restaurants. But it's been great. It's been a fun journey. It wasn't easy. We didn't have, we weren't what do we call them? Trust fund babies.
Yeah, trust fund, silver spoon babies.
We weren't, we didn't have, a auntie or uncle or a great grandparent that left us with, a bunch of money from, an insurance policy. We were just 2 people that just said we need to build something together. I come from social work. I did social work for LA County for over 25 years. He does everything in finances.
Financial service practice. I'm a financial advisor by trade, have 9 professional licenses.
So he did all that. And then we said, let's do something together that could just, retire us. We had money coming in. He was doing very well in the insurance and the real estate business. And as much as we like nice things, right, we knew that it had to be something more. We needed to see a return on our investment and not just buy things that depreciate. Amen. Right.
Amen.
So we said, let's get together and let's look for a business that we can open together and possibly leave for our children or retire us one day. We had no idea we would be 9 deep now. Right. I was kind of cool with just the one, to be honest. But here we are, here we are.
That's phenomenal. Well, y'all getting a lot of love in the comments. Vicky says, hey, family. Alexis giving us some praise hands. Tiffany says, hey, family. Tiffany's doing my job with putting the book out here as well. So let me go ahead and put that across the screen so everybody knows.
They're not playing.
Yeah, they not playing with me tonight. And look, Vicky said, grab a copy. Grab a copy of the book.
That's right.
Here y'all go. This is the website where you can actually read more about their story. You can get the book. There's not only a book, it's a book and a workbook. So if you're trying to create a family faith-centered business, they have the blueprint for you. Yes, and it's there. And one thing I love, as we were preparing in the pre-show and was having a conversation, you're like, hey, we want to share our story and share the knowledge with everyone because we want to grow our community. We want to see all of us can win. You said there's room at the top for us all, right?
Absolutely. And that's really what gave birth to us doing the book in the first place, right? We weren't in a situation that, okay, we're not as relevant, our business aren't doing that well, let's go out and sell this book to make all this money. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to be a New York bestseller, amen. But until then, I'm all right, but it was really about ministry for us. It was us sitting down together as a couple. And when we wrote that book together,
it took us 5 years.
It took us 5 years because we wanted to really do it together, right? And even in the final edit, we had to go in and change some dates. So I was like, oh, when we started it, we only had 3, you know what I mean? And then we added, the other restaurants. So we had to do some edits there. But it was really about when we had to walk through that journey again, as we told our story, it just made us appreciate it more. For me, it gave us time to pause and look like what we've done, because a lot of times when you're still in the grind, you tend to forget what you've accomplished. And sometimes we're hard on ourselves, right? About, I haven't done enough. I need to do more. I'm forgetting something. And this gave us pause to sit back and say, yeah, we got more work to do, but we have done some things. And we've done some things.
That's right.
And the book was about giving back to the community who has given to us for so many years by buying chicken, right?
You said it's a blueprint. That's why we called it lessons instead of chapters, because we tried to give back, some of the expertise that we have. So the franchise is just our journey. So that's what we've attained, right? But the F in the franchise can also be substituted by finance, because we give a lot of financial nuggets that whether you're an independent entrepreneur from a barber to trying to open up a coffee shop, anything in between, we let you know what you're going to need to look for or to do to raise capital, because that's basically the reason why small businesses don't achieve greatness, right? Because of the lack of resource, lack of capital. So when you're putting your little bio together, we give you these nuggets that you're going to need to go ahead and to present to either a lender if you need to go get a loan, or a potential investor if you want to go ahead and have a power partner or venture capitalist or somebody like that involved. They're going to ask you these questions, and they're going to want you to have answers, who you are and what you're trying to do. Why you need my money to support your endeavor, right? So whether you're borrowing it or whether you're trying to get somebody to invest in you, that's a question that you have to answer, right? So these are things that you need to put together, because it's not always, common knowledge to put together a plan of action to take your business or to launch it to the next level. So we wanted to say, hey, these are things that I know in the financial world, because I have a lot of people that come with ideas across my table just in the financial sector, because that's what I do, right? That's what I've been doing since 1990. Right. So what I've seen and then what I've done myself, these are the things that work, because everything that comes across my desk don't necessarily work.
That's right.
So I've put a few of those to practice, and I can go back and tell you, hey, this works. And if you follow this, you'll have this success. But you got to work hard now. So one of the things that people don't understand that's in the mix of all this is that 4-letter word, W-O-R-K, right? Some people think that might be a curse word, but that's the only thing that's going to get you over the hump to the next level.
All right.
In the book, we talk about, even if you're not doing a business, right? Just getting your financial house in order, right? Just looking at where we are with debt. Debt, being free from debt is not financial freedom yet. It's just one of the steps to getting there, right? But we talk about that. So even if you don't have a business or you work, a 9 to 5, there's still information in the book that can help you just in your financial journey as a single person. We talk about from the single perspective before we got together, our brokenness, Clint liked to say left at the altar. I was not left at the altar, okay? Engagement was called off, but he throws some shade occasionally and say I was left at the altar. That was not the case. I'm just letting the people.
Well, it's funny because I had the great pleasure of interviewing you all for blacklove.com, which was very exciting for me. I got to write an article, and I believe God makes no mistakes. I know that He put us in our life, in our lives, and us in your life for a reason.
Yes, thank you.
Talking about your story, let's go back to how did you all even meet? Because I do want the people to feel some level of there is hope. There is still hope at the church house, y'all. There's hope at the church house.
And we both have been members at the same church. We are the church story. People have that where you met, and we happen to be, because they now used to be a good thing, right? You meet at the church. Oh, y'all met at church, but now it's kind of like y'all met at church, right? But we did. We met at church. When I got there, he was already dating someone else, but we were friends because one thing about our church, it was always about community getting together, the young people getting together with the like minds, right? Being in that safe dating stage.
And we would go bowling.
We would go bowling, go to the movies.
So we all kind of got together. Anyway, there was about 30 of us, and then we coupled up. We just didn't couple up at that time together. Right. I coupled up with somebody else. So that journey kind of, didn't last that long, 2.5 years, and I was divorced. So we kind of came back, together. Because
he knew I went to his wedding, actually, the first wedding. Because it wasn't like I was trying to push up on it. You know what I mean? I was dating someone else. We were just all friends, and we were brother and sisters at church, in Christ. So I was actually at his first wedding and was like, oh, congratulations, moving on. But we did see each other when I first started going to the church, because he was there before I got there. And we did in the circle, we kind of just say hi to each other, because he had a little moment of a breakup with the person he ended up marrying. And there was some little, flirtation things happening, but still, I think he was still committed to that relationship. They just had a pause. And then I was still kind of committed to whatever little piece of relationship I had.
We've been there, sister. It's okay. We've been there.
I'm talking to the Hey Sisters right now.
Yeah, right? Hey sister, we've been there. Okay.
And then while he was married, I ended up being engaged. The wedding was announced. It didn't happen. I'm sure some of my then would have then been my bridesmaids are probably on here now. They had dresses fitted and all that stuff, and that didn't happen. But I thank and praise God for that. Every time I think about it, actually, I could have a pause, for a little praise break right now if I really felt like it. And then his divorce happened, my breakup happened. And then because we were always friends and connected in church together, we still saw each other, and it was my cousin Nakia was the one that said, Clint's not wearing his ring no more. You don't say.
Somebody with the eagle eye, and with hey sister,
she was my eagle eye.
Somebody always got that eagle eye.
That was her wing girl.
I was like, listen to you about his situation, and we laugh about it. Our first night out, our first date was in July. And we literally saw Pocahontas because there was nothing else.
No other movies out.
Right? So every Halloween, I really should dress up for Pocahontas, but I don't. And I never even dressed my daughter up as that. But it was just because we were friends. And even now, he's still my friend. He's my confidant. I can talk to him about anything and everything. Sometimes he probably was like, call your girlfriend, but I'm like, no, I'm talking to you. I'm about to give you all of this right now, right? But I think that's what's made us stay connected, and our village of couple and our village of sisterhood, our village of brotherhood is really the glue that keeps us grounded and keeps us connected, and even encouraged. Because if you with a circle that's everybody's negative and mad, I just don't know that energy, right? Because the energy you give is the energy you're gonna get. So you have to be careful what you surround yourself with. And we have just always been true believers of having other couples like minds, for counseling, amongst each other. And that's what's worked for us. Well,
yeah, it's worked. Yeah, it's
all right. Well, we are joined tonight by Deanna and Clint Lewis. They are the authors of Faith, Family, and Franchise, 13 Lessons for Couples to Create a Heart-Centered Business. They are dropping their story for us and telling us how they met and, the end rounds. Sometimes we go up, we go down. Sometimes we do end rounds. They had a couple end rounds in the beginning before they came together as a union. But they talk about that, I'm sure, more in their book. But you have 13 lessons here. We don't have time to go through all 13, but I wanted to kind of break these things down into chunks of threes and tell us the top 3 lessons that we need to know from any aspect, whether it's faith, whether it's family, whether it's business. What are those top 3 things we need to know in this month of Black Love, right? We celebrate Black Love this month.
Well, I tell you, the first one that we've kind of already talked about is surround yourself with good company, right? Good, company, positive, people that are trying to, do better and be better in life, in their surroundings, in their community. So that's number one. And we talk about that a lot because that's who we are, as a couple, as a family. We try to encourage that. And the energy that you give off is the energy that you're going to receive, right? It's karma. So that's kind of number one. And in that circle, as we talked earlier, we have, a couple's rule or works for us that every 90 days that we try to do a little getaway, that we can dream together, we can build together, we can goal set, we can talk about what the next step in life is going to look like for us, when it comes to business, hey, are we going to go ahead and move and look at that next opportunity, or we're going to just kind of stay still and kind of keep, building it? How is that going to look? How's it going to be time away? I'd never forget, and I say this a lot, that one of the times early in the practice, I used to do a lot of appointments. I worked in the field, right? I was, kitchen table, kneecap with my clients that I was trying to, sell insurance policy, sell a mortgage, sell a security, sell something that I can get a check and take money back home to the house, right? So I didn't want to come home empty-handed, right? So I would do appointments, and I was we were training the Lexus that I had, and there was a new one where they had those convertibles, 2-seaters and everything like that. And Dee was looking at it, she was liking it. It's like, yeah, I want to do it. We're doing okay. We're doing well, and everything like that. I said, okay, well then, if I say yes to this, then this is what it's going to take away. It's going to take away a few more hours of my time because I got to go ahead and close a couple more deals in order to afford that. And she said, and which I'll never forget it, at the dealership, oh, then I don't want it then. I want you at home with these 2 small babies that we just had. Yeah. So right then I knew that this was something that it wasn't all about the material, gains that you could have, that it was about, family and core. So it just kind of was one of those little light bulb moments, epiphanies that I was like, okay.
You got the right one, baby.
I got the right one.
And then I would say for me, the top 3, my number one, he gave his number one. My number one would be having that money talk. I think it's so important to have that currency conversation. If you can't be vulnerable with your spouse, they know everything about us, the good, the bad, the not smelling so good, right? They know all of that. How are we in relationships and we don't know each other's accounts? We don't know the amount of money that we have. We don't know what we've saved because we've entered the marriage or the relationship. And this is even for if you're dating. Dream date, right? Sit and talk about, well, what's your dreams? Well, what's your dreams? To make sure that you at least have something in common, or your goal is to reach some things in common. But we don't talk enough about money. And it is I'm willing to say it's the number one. Some may say it's different. Statistics may say something else, but I'm willing to say that it's the number one reason why there is so much disagreement and lack of communication in households and in relationships, because we don't have the currency conversation. I told Clint early
money,
on.
No honey, no finance, no romance.
Right. Hey, you're a financial expert. Help your girl get her credit together, because I'm real toe up right now, right?
Mhm.
But I was honest about that, and then he had his own stuff because he was coming out of a bad divorce that he had to start over, everything. We've been in bankruptcy court. What does that look like? But if you don't have those conversations, and now he's looking like, okay, she got her good county job, because I have my good county job that paid every day, every 15th and 30th. But if he don't know that I'm up to here in debt and I'm only keeping about $30 of the good county, he's like, well, wait a minute. I'm bad, you bad. Now we're just at each other. Whose fault is it? And the fight becomes, whose fault is it? You spend too much. You're not responsible. And it becomes all of that. But if we have those just honest conversations and have that vulnerability, even in our finances, we will be so much better on the other side of it. Because you just got to work to get out of it.
Work together.
Because you can get out of anything,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, Lena Morris has made that a hashtag, and I was feeling the same way too, Lena. That hashtag currency conversation, because that is definitely a hashtag. So we said, surround yourself with good company, have that money talk, the currency conversation. You talked about the every 90 days. We're gonna talk about that a little bit more, because y'all own one of those 90 days things right now. What before we transition to the next, I got all kind of stuff I gotta ask y'all. Is there a third lesson that y'all want to give to the people? Because y'all dropping some gems here tonight.
We'll talk about something about the business, and it's know your numbers, right? You need to know where you're at in order to know where you're going.
That's right.
So one of the things that I said earlier in regards to, you need to raise capital in order to be successful in any business, whether it's small or grand, right? So know your numbers. You need to know how much things cost, how much you're going to sell it for, how much does it take to make it, how much does it take of your time? Because of what happens is, even when people are building, I was just talking to a client that wants to do, he has a hot dog, business, hot dog cart. And when you're building up or trying to set your prices, do you know how much it costs the goods to make whatever you're making?
Yeah.
And most times they kind of do. But one of the things that they forget about and they leave out is their time. People don't understand
they don't
how
charge
to
enough for
their time. Because guess what? When you buy it off the shelf, it's not like it just automatically turns out to be grandma's cookies, right? It needs to be some love and some care and some soul, right?
Right.
And if you don't put that in your price, a lot of people end up actually thinking that they're doing well, but they end up not making a profit because they didn't price their time correctly.
Know your numbers.
Oh, know your numbers.
Know your credit score.
Hey, we got all kinds of numbers we gotta know. We gotta know our blood pressure, our cholesterol. You gotta know how many steps you're taking. You gotta know how much money you got in the bank. You gotta know what's the value of your time. You got some numbers to know for people. A lot of
numbers. And from finance, you said franchise can be replaced with finances as well. From a financial standpoint, we also need to know our numbers too, because very often we know how much we make in a check, and we know that we pay the bills between each check, but we don't necessarily know how much actually comes in and how much is actually going back out.
I've told to a lot of clients in the past that everything comes with instructions. You can even make a cake. It has this recipes and a guide and everything like that. But guess what? Your paycheck doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't tell you how much you need to save, how much you need to invest for the future. You just get your net check. And government has already taken their money off the top.
So they don't care what you
do. So what you get and what you do with it is all on you.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to go ahead and know your numbers, to like what you said, you know, to be able to plan it out, to really, you know, try to make some type of difference no matter what you're at, because it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. I have clients that make $50,000 a year that do better have more in the bank and have more, you know, comfort lifestyle than those clients that make six figures.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with how much money you make, but it's your spending, your lifestyle. Spend within your means, and then you'll see that you'll make a difference. And if you need to go ahead and make some additional money, we just did a live the other day that encouraged people to increase that margin of comfortability between their expenses and their income. There's only one or two ways. It was on two ways. One, you have to cut expenses, and a lot of people don't want to. They said, "Clint, I'm already budgeted down, right? I don't have nowhere else to go." Then you need to increase your income. That's really the only way.
Yeah, cut expenses or get a side hustle.
So,
how about that?
That's where it is.
That's where it is.
That part.
All right. Well, we had a question here. I want to get back to. We got a lot of agreement all in the comments here, but we had a question that came in from Rosalind. It says, "How did you decide to work together on your business, and how did you delineate the roles and responsibilities?" And I think this is a really good question about.
Listen, people can't live together in the COVID. They sure ain't gonna do business together. So.
Right, you don't want to work with nobody then. With us, it was, again, we had a lot of money coming in from Clint's, business, his real estate and his financial, advisory business. So he had a lot of money coming in from loans and we started seeing this money growing in the bank. And we said, we need to do something with it. We need to invest it. We were already invested. We bought stocks and bonds, and there's, mutual funds, but we wanted something that was kind of tangible, if that makes sense, like an actual business outside of what we did independent of each other. I've always been a people person. I'm sure y'all probably can pick up that, right? And he knows the numbers and knowing your role. Yeah. We knew the role of each other. Wasn't no need for me to be in there trying to tell people about, their deductions on their W-2s and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I'm putting it right on mine, right? So I'm gonna let him do that, and then he allowed me to handle the people. Here comes Mama D. A lot of my employees will call me Miss D, because I'm gonna be there to kind of get that backstory. Clint is just like, did they show up? Were they on time? And did we meet payroll? That's all he want to be bothered with, right? All the other in between. He's like, so knowing even your role in your relationship, there's no need for me to tackle. Now, I do need to know our numbers, right? And I am doing better with that. Life will cause you to say, oh, Clint, I guess I do need to know where the bank is, right? Because I was just so involved in training. I was a trainer. I was the developer, a person, of different positions and stuff in the business. But then I had to step back and say, okay, let me learn these numbers too. I did need to know who we handle payroll with, right? And then he knows how to come in there and train the staff as well. Now, his method and my method is different. A lot of times they tell him one story and then they give me the tea. Because that's a gift. It takes a gift to get the tea out of people, right? So we knew our roles at the beginning, that he was going to always be about the numbers, and I trusted him, that he was going to make sure that we were good. And then he trusted that I would be in there to train, to make sure people are doing what they need to do as far as their roles. Mm-hmm. And then now we both know how to do both things. So it just makes each job less strenuous. But we definitely was about a lot of things we decided was together. I was the one that decided that we needed to do a franchise in the first place. Most people don't know that because they see him as the numbers. They're like, okay, the idea must have came from Clint because he know all the numbers. And I was like, no, that was all your girl, right?
She did the research.
I did the research. I went and set out at the Wingstops and counted the cars to see how many customers were coming in. Okay, I looked at the menu. Okay, this is simplistic because we wanted a simplistic concept. We looked at Subway. I don't know if that's kind of build your own sandwich, right? I don't know if I want to be bothered with that. Just give me a simplistic menu because we were not coming from restaurant backgrounds. We're not chefs, right? So we needed recipes. To be honest, I really don't like to do a whole lot of cooking if you just want to be honest, right? But I'll toss up your wings for you. So we needed to get a business that was simplistic. So I did all that research and just said, here, babe, this is what I'm looking at. Can we do it? What do we need to do to position ourselves? So it took us a year just to even get ourselves in a position financially to see if we were even going to qualify. That's another thing we have to start doing. You can't say in January, I want to be ready to buy a house in June and then start saving in June for the house in June, right? You want to have a plan. So if you're saying, I want to purchase a house in 6 months, you got to start right now on that plan, sitting with the financial advisor, asking them, what do I need? How much of a down payment? Most people don't know what their scores are. It's just a whole lot, right? That comes with that. Can't cover it all, but we knew our roles and what we both brought to the table, and we're kind of dope.
Hey, well, look, you can't be in business without facing some challenges. So you told us the top 3 lessons. What were the top 3 challenges? Because obviously, like you said, you started with the 1. You would have been satisfied with the 1. You've grown to the 9. I know there's been some bumps along the way. So tell us what have been the top 3 challenges and how did you overcome them?
Truth be have it, we've built 12 restaurants in the last 16 years. So that's the truth. We have 9 still standing right now. So 1 had to close during the recession. That was one of the things that really kind of hurt us like any other Americans, right? During the 08 and 09 recession. So we had other investments that we did because things were good, right? So we had 9 pieces of property throughout different places, different states. Arizona, 9 pieces of income property in addition to the one that we had our own. And we had a couple of businesses. One Wingstop only made it 11 months. We didn't even make it a year, but we had to close it in order to try to save, the other one. So we did that. And we ended up, through that in bankruptcy. So we had over $1 million in debt in bankruptcy that we had to go to the court. Now, I've known about bankruptcy before. It wasn't my first time that I was there. So I'm just telling you, I think it's not something to be shameful or pride about. As I said, you'll see a lot of people that you think that are doing things that never would, that end up there. So it's basically a way that you can restart. But this one,
Chad, I thought I was up in there in criminal court. I thought
about to be prosecuted.
I was like, we really tried. We don't know what happened. We're not trying to get over on nobody. And the judge was like, man, if you don't just answer these questions and go somewhere, my hands were sweating. I was like, I was not prepared. I thought I was going to go to jail, right? So that was one. It was just. But it didn't cause us to say we never want to do anything else. And that's one thing that you just have to persevere. You have to get through that hurdle. And it was tough, and we had made an agreement that as long as Wingstop, the one that's standing, could take care of itself and not take money out of the household income, we'll keep going in it. But we had it up for sale at one point. Thank God that didn't happen, right? I was still working at the county. I went back to the county. So that was another challenge. So people just see the glow up. They don't know all of that, right? When I looked and saw that one day, my husband was looking very flushed and looked like he was stressed out. And I said, what's going on? And he's just like, it's just tight. Things are tight. This business is closing. This house is going into foreclosure. Things were tight. And I said, I'm not about to sit here and have to raise these 2 young babies by myself. So what do I need to do? And I said, okay, that means I got to go back to work. I shook that dust off them suits, put that suit back on, and went back to the county and stayed there another 3 or 4 years from that until we were able to, and I didn't leave again until it was time for our second store. And even then I was given that resignation letter like, I ain't trying to listen, never be broke again. I know what that feel like. I was like, am I sure? So there were some challenges. It was losing, having to close a restaurant after having it only open for, 11 months, going through bankruptcy court, right? Feeling like, and then, then there was some death along the way that we had to grieve and go through. Thank God it wasn't anything at that time that just wiped us out. But, we still had small children that were dependent upon us. And we just had to keep persevering and saying, okay, what's our next move? And that's one thing that he's good at. Like, babe, if he did it for us before, it'll happen. It's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen. And I'm just like, well, when is it gonna happen, Jesus? Ready to throw in the towel, but that's where we glean off each other, because when my faith, which is why we named the book Faith, because it's so much about how we move and operate and trust in God in every decision that we make. And the faith is how we connected, because it was at church where we met, right? But it's been that has carried us through, through it all.
Well, you said something when we talked previously about the bankruptcy court that I thought was just very profound. And it was this idea that a lot of times with us in the Black community, we feel like there's this level of shame associated with going through bankruptcy. And it's like, it's not something to be shameful about, because it's business. I just wanted you, I know Clint, you touched it a little bit, but I wanted to elaborate on that just a tad bit more about, bankruptcy is often a natural part of the business. And that's what Deanna said too. It wasn't many of us there.
It's just a lot of pride. It's a good thing, because you want to be able to pay your bills, right? And you want to pay them on time. That's why you sign up. There's nothing to be ashamed of when things don't go well. Death, divorce, business close, economy, sickness, the recession, sickness. Those are the type of things that the government puts into law, the ability to gain and restart. So there's two types of bankruptcies. One that you say, hey, I just can't do anything anymore. I need a restart. Just totally do it. Again, or one that you need to get people off your back and give you some time where you can go ahead and just make some payments. Like, hey, if I had somebody that could just allow to work with me over some time and make some payments, then you could do that. So bankruptcy forces those creditors that don't want to be sympathetic to your circumstance to make them have to deal with you on your terms and make a payment arrangement. So as I said, there's things in there that are really helpful to give you a restart. And
we stroking out and getting sick, all for things that we could. There's a way out, right? Sometimes we just don't see a way out, and which is again the book, again the currency conversation. If we don't talk about this stuff in our communities, how will we ever know how to thrive and get over those difficult times? And I'm telling you, I wouldn't have known, because I immediately thought bankruptcy was bad. We're in trouble. We did something bad. We're looking like, I'm telling you, I was trying to plead my case. Like, that's not who we are. We really are honest people. We're sorry, that the economy crashed. It wasn't our fault. But nobody talks about that. I even remember traveling with my sister, with my girlfriends, and we were literally at the airport, and one person, we started talking about bankruptcy, and one of the sisters said that she had just filed, and the other sister said, I was thinking about that, but I didn't want to say nothing because, and she had gone through a divorce. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want nobody to, judge. That's how we move. And how is our community going to ever be better if we don't start saying, look, this is a situation that I'm in. Can you give me your expert advice, or have you been through it before? And from that point on, we was like, girl, please, what? That's all you tripping off of? Listen, that's lightweight. And that's how you start to have those conversations about marriage, about family. Why are you struggling on how to discipline a child or how to seek mental health? You over here struggling in silence. And it may be somebody right there that's the closest to you that has gone through it. They just didn't tell nobody. We believe in telling the folks, right?
Right.
Tell it all. If you're going to tell it, in the words of Usher Raymond, if you're going to tell it, then you got to tell it all, right? Tell it all.
Usher is my little side boo. He already know that.
Oh, wow. Well, you've had so many successes. Obviously, you have a successful marriage. You have successful businesses. You have successful children. Outside of those top 3 successes, what would you say are your top 3 successes? And it could be as a couple or individually.
Our first award.
Yeah, you tell that story.
Our first award, when we first got the award for being the number 1 store in sales increase at the Wingstop convention, we sat there for about 7 or 8 years. I was so bitter at them awards. I was like, I'm in there working hard, just smelling like chicken from head to toe, and we're never getting recognized, you know, and just having that, hearing your name called, you don't know. My back was to the stage. I was talking to everybody at the table about how this is a setup, and it seemed like only Texas gets the recognition. Oh, I was in. Texas the only get the recognition, and then they were like, the #1 sales store increase for the year goes to, you know, Bakersfield Wing Company, you know, Clinton Deanna Lewis. I was like, what? I ran up to the stage like it was a Grammy, child. And it was just that thrill, you know, and that was our first. And to feel like, wow, we've put in this work. We've driven, you know, sometimes with our kids in the back seat in their pajamas because we had to drop them off. You know, our businesses, by the way, the Wingstops are 2 hours from where we live. So we would, on some Sunday nights, we're picking them up from midnight from my grandmother's house or with my mom and putting them in the car. They got on their pajamas already. They've already been given a bath so we can drive home so that I can get up Monday and go to work for the county. He can get up Monday and go to the office. They can get up Monday and go to school. And so to feel like we did all that sacrificing and to receive recognition was really incredible. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was mine. What was yours?
Mine was actually celebrating your success. You know, she has been a good, only government employee, you know, from when I met her, right? You know, that's get paid on the 5th and you know, on the 15th and 30th, you know, so that was her, you know, so the entrepreneurial and the boss sister, the person that you see now is something that's evolved.
Yeah.
And to be able to see that, and to see how great of a speaker, how great of an entrepreneur, and that she listens, because a lot of the lessons, because I've been doing this for so long, been across the stage, won so many sales awards and everything like that. It's
That's
just kind of.
I mean, you just won so much. I mean, you know, all you do is win.
Because I'm great.
Right?
I just outwork everybody. I tell people a long time ago, I will give you all the information that you need, because I just don't feel that you're going to outwork me.
That's his.
So it's
he lived by that.
No problem. I'm the first to get there and the last to leave. And it's been that way for 30 years. So unless you're willing to put in that work, you know, I just really don't have no feel of competition. It's just the way it is. So, you know, with that being said, to be able to see that she has listened and tuned in and she's gotten recognition, you know, actually, I think maybe last year or the year before last was kind of the first time that she got recognition outside of us, just on her own.
Yeah.
And that was so rewarding because to be able to see how she's become, because I remember, and you told me a long time ago to, you know, just go get a regular job.
Yeah.
You know, in the first years, you know, when things were kind of tough and I was in transition time.
Like, let's go clock in to somebody.
Just go get a job, right? You know, it's,
this entrepreneur journey you on, bro. We struggling over here.
You know, so you know. And which I did, and I've worked, you know, graveyard shift for 3 months so that we can kind of get ahead of the still time, you know, work office. So we were just looking out the window for the sun to come up. So I understand, you know, everything that you have to do to sacrifice, but to be able to get that recognition on her own outside of that, because a lot of times, unfortunately, you know, they you know, call your name and it's Clint Lewis and the store and everything like that. And I was like, come on, babe, you know, because it's together. But outside, I wasn't nowhere, you know, I said in the little bio, it was just all her. And that was great.
And I think I like how we do philanthropy together. We have both fully committed to that, to giving back. We give back to the city of Bakersfield, who's given to us. It's because of them, because of our customers, that we're even, you know, sitting here now as franchise owner of 9 restaurants. And every Thanksgiving, we feed over 250 families, and that's the full meal. You know, we're not just tossing a turkey. We're like, here's all the fixings. I give back to girls that are in foster care. That's so dear to my heart.
College.
We give back college scholarships for kids in school. That's where we are now on this journey, right? How much more can we give? That's why we wrote the book. We really want to give back. Now, we haven't just crossed over to where our money is working for us when we sleep, right? Because the stores is closed. We only make money when the stores are open, but we're getting there, you know. And in the meantime, we're going to do all that we can to give back and to help to whatever capacity that we can, right? If it's our little bit is helping a little bit of people, we'll take that. And we'll celebrate that. And that's one thing that he and I have never disagreed about, even in supporting our church, Peace Apostolic in Carson. We just recently lost our pastor of over 30 years. And knowing that even in that, we were fully committed to supporting that ministry that we feel blessed us. And then, as we do some things with our brotherhood and sisterhood in Bakersfield at Greater Harvest Christian Center, we give scholarships to students that are graduating from there. So all of that is really where we are now. And what we're looking forward to the future is what more can we do to give back to others, so we can all thrive,
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, you mentioned this a little earlier, and Christina had a little insight on your 90-day rule. So she knew you were already on this 90-day. We have to hit this topic.
Yes.
It's going to be by the last one we talk about, but y'all, we are live right now on Hey Sister with Clinton and Deanna Lewis. I say Clinton, I'm sorry. Clint and Deanna Lewis. They are the authors of Faith, Family, and Franchise, 13 Lessons for Couples to Create a Heart-Centered Business. This has been a phenomenal conversation. We talked about how you got together. We got the real, we got the play story, then we got the real story. The sister had to come with the real story, right? But we got that. We talked about some of their successes. We've talked about challenges they've overcome and the top 3 lessons. You can get their book here at their website, faithfamilyfranchise.com. So you can go there. It not only comes with a book, but it also comes with a workbook, because that's what it's all about. It's about the blueprint and kind of mastering that blueprint for success. But one of the things that we talked about in the pre-show, and Christina, you knew more about it. So I'm gonna let you serve up this question about the 90-day rule.
Yeah, so you guys created a 90-day rule, and I just wanted you to tell the audience, because I think obviously we know self-care is so important right now, especially wellness is so important. And then to be able to do it as a couple, I think is just wonderful. So how did you come up with your 90-day rule, and how have you stuck to it all these years?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we feel that we work hard. And my mom taught me early on that, son, you work hard, you have to play hard. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things. So we have a few trips that we're talking about. The 90-day rule is basically traveling together, right? Mm-hmm. Taking a little, vacation. So we have bigger trips that we do. One as us for couples, that we have our village, our sisterhood, our brotherhood that travels with us. We do one as a family that we may take on 1 or 2 other families, or we just do it with our own family, right? Mm-hmm. Our family of 5. But the 90-day rule is that us. Yeah. We need to get away, so that way we can have those conversations. And most of our opportunities, our thoughts, our dreams, the things that we've accomplished, mm-hmm. and some of the things that haven't gone, actually haven't materialized, have all happened while we're on this 90 days. And we've taken those, could be, trips in the early days that were to the local Holiday Inn. Select with breakfast, and we had to go to matinee. So that's we right. had
save some money,
the meal, at least one meal included with the matinee, so that way we could do something together. They've been drive trips.
That's right.
That we're just getting in the car and then we're just talking and with the top down, right down the coast. Doesn't really cost much but the gas. And then we've had, more elaborate trips that, first class, 5-star, 6-star resorts, mm-hmm. Once you save up and you plan, you get there. But every 90 days, we try to get away just so that way we can reconnect, and that way we can keep things going. Because without that and all things, she was a social worker. So she was dealing with that, elder abuse that you work with a lot of the seniors, and then some of the other, I said, mental, awareness and clients. So that's already a tough job. I'm in sales, basically on commission only. So you feast or famine. So that's stressful, at the same time. So we had to make sure that we had to detox, de-stress, and just get away. Because other than that, how are you going to be any good to your family, to your friends.
That's
if
right.
you guys are all stressed out at odds and ends with each other. So we just felt that, early on.
And we did that early because I remember him forcing me to do it after we had just had our son. Yeah. So my son is February, Mother's Day was May, and he's like, okay, we have to go to, go away for the weekend. And I'm like, I gotta leave my baby.
I got my baby. Yeah.
I was nursing at the time, so I had to store milk. It was just a whole hot mess. So of course Sunday I was like, we out of here. Come on, check out early. But I'm glad that he made me to make sure that even in that, don't get lost in the two of us. That even in being new parents, we still have to steal away time for ourselves. Because if we don't do that, then we get lost in all of the other stuff, all of the business, and we never connect to each other. And then we find out, I think a lot of times, sometimes that's what leads to divorce. You see people that have been married like 25, 30 years. It's like, y'all, what happened?
After you don't have the kids at home.
And we know, a couple couples that's happened to, and that's why we were just so committed to, and he, to be honest, he really pulls that out of me even more. Because I'm gonna get mine in. Listen, I'm at that spa. I'm with the sisters, so I was getting it in, but sometimes he won't do that. He will just work. So this is even a way for him to step back. He's a golfer, so he'll play golf. Today I made him, we're on location now. And I'm like, come on, let's go get a massage. And we was going to get a 50 and he upgraded me to a 90. Hallelujah.
Okay.
Right? And it's been like this. This is not pretend. This is just what we do. And it hasn't always been, we've had those moments of disagreement, but nothing to where we couldn't come back from. We don't struggle with who's going to say sorry. I just told him to say sorry earlier. I said, say sorry, because that wasn't nice. He was like, what did I say? I said, you just didn't say it right. So say sorry,
the
right?
Delivery.
I said, your delivery was off. Just say sorry,
I don't know if I did, but
he never did say sorry, but he ended up doing what I wanted him to do. So
I was compliant, but I never said sorry for the comment.
That's right.
So sorry.
But that's just how we, how we believe in, and we're not doing anything that other couples can't do. I just really believe that it's just the work you put in. You got to put in work to get yourself together, right? So that you can be better for whoever you're trying to help. So independently, we got to be strong as far as our mental health has to get tuned up, just like our bodies have to get physically tuned up. All of that is important. And we just are committed to reminding each other of that, and then reminding those around us that that's important as well.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Well, y'all, the time has I can't even believe that we have been on. It's going by so fast. I don't know. Sister, what do you want to say in closing as we get ready to wrap this up? Y'all have been tuned in live with Hey Sister. If you watch live, thank you for being here with us. If you watching this in the replay, you going to want to replay this conversation again. There were so many nuggets that were dropped along the way. Sister, what you want to say in closing?
I just want to thank you again. Like I said, since doing the article with you all, it's been wonderful connecting with you, watching your businesses, your relationship. I am honored to be a part of at least your extended circle now.
Absolutely.
Clint being from New Orleans, we're from Thibodaux, Louisiana, so we have that connection. And then, of course, Deanna being one of our sorors, these alpha women. Yes. So I thank y'all so much for being a part of our show today.
Yeah. We got a comment here that said, y'all need a show. She said, y'all need your own show.
Look at God, won't he do it? Yes, come on. Let's pull all that in.
Yes, for sure.
This is an honor. Thank you all so much. We appreciate just the invitation. Yes. We don't take it lightly. We really do feel honored whenever we're invited. And to be here with all this melanin magic. Listen, I'm here for it all. The hair and everything. Chris not showing y'all her hair today, but she has some beautiful hair as well. She has it bunned up. But this has been amazing. And we just thank you guys for the invitation so much.
It's truly an honor.
So let me type that hashtag in as well, Melanin Magic, because I don't want to forget that one. So I'm typing it into the comments there because I love all the Melanin Magic too. Like I said, tonight y'all been on live with Hey Sister. Again, we've been graced with the presence of Deanna and Clint Lewis. They are the authors of Faith, Family, and Franchise, 13 Lessons for Couples to Create a Heart-Centered Business. You can get their book here. You can learn more about their story. Like I said, it's not just a book, but it's also a workbook. You can book them to have them on as a guest or a speaker. Y'all know me. You will be seeing them again because I'm like, yes, this is that most definitely have to happen again. But we're just so grateful to have you and have everybody out there who are watching. So thank you for tuning in tonight to Hey Sister. And we're gonna all wave bye to the camera to the folks, and y'all hold the line while we say bye, everybody.